CAPA stands for Community and Police Partnership and Advocacy. And so it is truly a partnership program, primarily with DPD. We've been partnering with them for over 20 years with the officers, as well as our team, which consists of masters prepared, social workers, psychologists. We have police officers on our team. We also have peers who've been through the justice system. And so it's a three-part program. Actually, we do training for all the officers at DPD when they come on board at the academy. And then we do annual updates for them. We also go into the precincts and do training. We provide follow-up counseling and specialized services for officers. As you know, there's a high rate of alcoholism, substance abuse, suicide, depression, all the kinds of issues that the general public have, but really ingrained in terms of the kind of stress that those folks experience. And then we also have our walk along, ride along program where we're partnered with DPD officers on the street, actually responding to public safety issues. And I think the message for about CAPA is that public safety is really a partnership, and it's a partnership not just with law enforcement and behavioral health, but also with the business community in terms of how that impacts them.
What have you seen or experienced since you've been doing this in terms of the difference in outcome for the people who are being responded to by police?
Well, obviously our outcomes are, first, number one is safety. We want people to come out without having a violent encounter that ends in some kind of danger to residents. And we've seen that for over 20 years. Working in this partnership with DPD side by side, we've been, walking along and riding along and are able to respond to situations and to help diagnose situations so that really at worst case scenario, these become misdemeanor situations and not felonies.
Misha Stallworth, schools, of course, are rethinking policing in important ways as well. Talk about what you guys are doing and how you're taking in this moment and the need to really rethink all of that. I'll start here. There are some people who say police don't belong in schools.
Police don't belong in schools enforcing our code of conduct, right? So the whole thing about disrupting a school to prison pipeline is that you don't treat kids like criminals when they're at school. You address behavior problems from adolescents as if they are behavior problems from adolescents, not as if they are, violent crimes, even when students sometimes can be violent. We know that that is a reality. However, it's, part of healthy youth development to receive an intervention at that point and to learn a new behavior, not to be put in handcuffs and then entered into the criminal justice system. So one of the things that's unique about our school district compared to districts around the country is that the police, the Detroit Public Schools police are actually a department within DPSCD. So it is not the city police. And it's an important distinction because what that means is that we have control over how those officers are trained. We have control over where they are deployed. We have control over what their roles actually are. And we have control over what happens if the police are called by staff for some reason. We still spend too much on police. We've increased our spending on, nurses and counselors and deans and folks who facilitate positive culture. But we're working on looking at how do we think about safety more comprehensively within the district? How do we engage in that conversation with our community and our families? Many folks, we're raised to both be concerned about the police, but also to accept that they are the intervention when something happens. And so there are a lot of folks who do think of having police in schools as the safe route. There are other folks who don't want police in schools. So we see this as an opportunity to start having this conversation as a community so that we can think, again, comprehensively about safety. We can think about safety in an anti-racist way. We can think about safety in a way that addresses the needs of our students from a healthy youth development approach, our staff so that they're in an environment they feel good in, and our families so that they feel welcome in our buildings.